Hey guys, welcome back to JLE Tech. Today we're going to be looking into the new Windows 10 Threshold 2 build that was recently released by Microsoft. Let's get into it. This new Microsoft build is going to include a lot of changes to the UI, Cortana, usability, as well as a lot of under the hood improvements. We'll go ahead and start with the UI first. If we head over to Settings, Personalization, and Colors, we now have an option to show color on Start, Taskbar, Action Center, and Title Bar. What this does is gives us the option to change the color of the title bar on all windows like you see here. If I were to turn this off, it would go back to white, which is what it was before. And I even have the option to choose whatever color I want. So if I want it black, it'll go black, or that's gray actually. Or if I wanted to match my background, I can just switch this on and it'll choose a color similar to what my background is. The next change is going to be on the lock screen. Go ahead and close this out. We now have the option to turn off the Windows background picture that's on the sign-in screen. Before, when you were logging in, it would display that blue Windows logo and everything. We can now turn that off, and it will change it to a color similar to your background. So mine is this color here, pretty much matching my background. So it's nice to see I'm able to make changes to Windows and really make it my own. Next, we'll look at the context menus. Context menus are now more refined, more polished, and they look a little better. They have this black background, and the information is pretty well laid out. It's a lot easier when you're right-clicking around the OS to find what you need, and I think it looks a lot better. There's still the inconsistency. If I were to right-click on the desktop, however, it shows up white. Hopefully they'll fix this in a future update, but it's nice to see the direction they're going in with the black context menus. I think it looks a lot better, and like I said, the information's laid out well, and I seem to be able to find everything I need to find pretty easily. The last setting we'll look at with regard to the UI is the changes to the start menu. You now have the option to show more tiles in the start menu. I'll go ahead and switch it on. At the moment, this is pretty much the size of the tiles that you can have, or the amount of tiles you can have from left to right, but now I'm able to add to this row over here. So it makes the tiles bigger. I don't think I can add more than that. No, we have the separation line here, but it now gives us the option to add more tiles onto the start menu, which is pretty nice. I guess if you really, I don't use the start menu too much, but it's nice to see again that we just have more options. We have more options to choose how we want Windows to look, how we want it to feel, and overall just the way we use Windows. So now we'll take a look at some of the usability improvements that were made in this build. We'll look into the multitasking changes that were made. We'll open up two apps and we'll go ahead and snap them like we were able to do before. With this update, we're now able to resize each window, so we can make windows as big or as small as we want. And it looks like the websites are still able to run pretty well. I'm able to see all this information in Gizmodo even with the screen really small, and it stops me at this point, probably because it can't display the information better if we change it anymore. This is definitely a feature I think a lot of people will like. Next, we'll go ahead and look at the changes that were made to Microsoft Edge, the new browser that Microsoft released with Windows 10. So I'll go ahead and pull it up. One of the biggest and I think best changes that they made in it were we have tab previews now. So I'll go to google.com and I'll just open bing.com over here, and I'll even go to YouTube too. If I hover over each of the tabs, it gives me a preview of the website, which I think is really nice. This is a feature that most other browsers have at this point, and it's good to see it integrated into Edge. I think Microsoft's still working on Edge. They're working out all the bugs, and they're trying to make it better, which definitely is good news. Maybe the next browser to take out Chrome could be Edge. Who knows? But as far as changes go, that's probably the biggest and best upgrade that Edge has seen in this update. There's also some under the hood updates or under the hood improvements, like in performance and loading websites and everything, and that's for day-to-day use. Most people aren't going to see that. That's more for website developers. So as far as changes go, those are pretty much the most significant, at least in my opinion, changes that were made to Windows 10. We'll have to see where Windows 10 goes from here. Like I said, it's good to see Microsoft making changes and improving Windows so quickly. Windows 10 was released at the end of July, and here we are in November with a pretty major update. If we remember from 8 to 8.1, I don't think it was that fast, and that was the only big update Windows 8 saw. I'm sure Microsoft is planning on releasing a lot more updates, and hopefully they'll make a lot of usability changes and improvements on everything. As of right now, I think Windows 10 is a lot more polished. I think it's a lot easier to use, and this update was definitely a step in the right direction. Again, at least in my opinion. So that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it and if you learned something new, please leave a like down below and drop any comments with anything you might want to see in a future video. If you like what you see and you want to see more, definitely feel free to subscribe down below. And as always guys, keep tuned for the next video.